Hi, this is Dr. Cora Stack here. Just wanted to raise an issue there that somebody I was talking to connected with helping victims of crime reported to me anonymously recently, and it may help some people. And it's just that the person was saying that what has been reported a lot is scams. People being the target of scams, and horrendous stories, particularly of women on their own being scammed, either online or in their homes, by professional schemers and scammers, manipulators, all that sort of thing. I think. Women on their own and vulnerable people need to be extremely careful about, somebody was saying like that they wouldn't like to, even have a workman in their house without having, somebody there to keep an eye on the workman. That I'm sure there are very many reputable tradespeople. I know them myself, but, this person was saying that they had so many reports of scams and, manipulation and all of that you have to be extremely careful, who you rely on for anything. And, you can't, people can be so convincing and so, they can be so charming and they come across as really, sincere when you meet them first, and you can be taken in by the charisma and the charm and the mirroring, as they say, and all that sort of thing. But you can find yourself very much at the end of a very serious scam at the end of it, if you're not extraordinarily careful with regard to recognizing scammers or manipulation. I mean, there's so much of it going on online, banking scams. We're being told about to watch out for those all the time, but everywhere you look, people are on the make. For every penny they can scam out of, particularly anyone that's anyway vulnerable or on their own, and particularly women on their own or elderly people. These kind of people are particular targets for schemers, manipulators, or scammers. So we no, people need to be extremely careful about this. So I'm just raising it because I have been discussing sort of hearing from people about the amount of it that's going on, and the extent of it, and how shockingly deceptive it is, and how people are deceived and buy into all these stories, and and are deceived up to their eyeballs before they realise they're in very deep and have made a major mistake. So it's very easily to be conned, very easily. And if you're anyway kind of naive or gullible or sensitive or empathetic, you'll fall for the sob story or the convincing charm, or the real kind of manipulating kind of people. Those kind of master manipulators can be very good at kind of bringing you in or pulling you in or scamming you, like it's a kind of scam, isn't it? So I mean, it's online, it can be in your home, it's everywhere. This scamming and fraud, and I suppose the more we operate on the online environment, the more likely there's huge scamming. You end up and you kind of say, who can I trust? When you're hearing about the amount of people who are scamming and overcharging, the overcharging, adding 100 here, 100 there, and not accounting for it in various bills, this sort of thing. So I think I don't know how to even myself how to be careful enough with regard to schemers or operators or manipulators or gaslighters or scammers, fraudsters, all that sort of thing. It's extraordinarily difficult. There are honest people out there, and if you know a small number of honest people, you can consider yourself extraordinary fortunate. But I'm just doing this video because of what I've heard about the amount of scamming going on even in Ireland. And if it's going on in Ireland, and I suppose a lot of it could be online. I mean, I myself was the target of scammers early on in my Facebook, and fortunately I didn't go to the end. I kind of figured it out, but still, I could have been, very hard. Could have fallen for the the scam. But thankfully, then I just stopped all interaction, on Facebook, which would make me susceptible to being scammed. But you know, there are other ways people can get at you, like harassing you kind of by proxy online, that sort of thing. I mean, that goes on. You know, online harassment, stalking goes on big time. So all that is going on, and you know, it's been reported. You know, to as I understand it, scamming is huge. So we need to be so careful. I don't think you can be careful enough. I mean, we can't go around being paranoid that everyone is trying to, you know, everybody's out to get us. I mean, you can't kind of think like that, you know. But if you hear the amount of scamming and fraud that's going on, you'd be kind of, you know, it would leave you kind of, you know, fearful of trusting anybody really, you know. But I mean, you know, that kind of excessive fear runs into paranoia, and I wouldn't be one of those type of people. But I think, you know, caution is very important. You know, I mean, you know, you can be wearing, you know, earphones. I was in Dublin a while back, you know, and I had earphones, and you know, they were just, somebody brushed past me and took them. So things like, you know, your bag can be taken from you. Anything can you know, and you could be even with people, and you know, something is gone. You know, a pair of glasses, something you wouldn't even miss, but you'd miss it obviously. You know, or anything at all. So you have to be so careful with schemers and manipulators and scammers, and you know, they're so clever the way they do it, and you know, right in front of your eyes nearly, and you know, and rarely do you ever get back. I have a very good story where I was in a shopping centre a number of years ago in Dublin, and this man, you know, obviously had a wig on, came, and he said, "Sorry, ma'am," you know, he just pulled my bag out of my hand, you know. He said, "Sorry, sorry," he apologised, like he looked like a monk, you know. He was dressed up, obviously, you know, and disguised. So very fortunately, a really nice man was in a truck, and so he had a higher view, you know, and he was seeing you know, what this fellow was doing. He saw what he was doing, and your man ran off, and he had a car, you know, was collecting him. But this person got out of his van, ran after this so and so, and got the bag off him. Got the bag off him, and he was fitter. So by the time, you know, he got him, it was before he could get into the car. So this fellow with the wig got into the car, and I got my bag back. I mean, how many times would that happen? I mean, I'm sure this extraordinary brave truck person isn't watching this, you know, isn't watching this. But if he is, you know, there is a really good, decent man like that went after, you know, a fraudster like that. And I've heard of several women having their bags taken in shopping centres, or just as they're about to, you know, upload their shopping into their boot and things. That's what happened to me. But in fairness, this very decent man, you know, ran after this fellow, and I had all my cards, you know, and it's just the inconvenience of it, you know, and you can be really, really left in a terrible state, particularly if you're abroad, anywhere like that, and this happens, you know, it can be very, very difficult. So I doubt very much if this man is watching this video, but if he is, you know, or anybody like him, you know, fair play to people like that who have the courage, you know, to stand up for vulnerable women, or women that are in vulnerable situations. These are, you know, one in a million types of people that you know, have the courage to stand up for people who are being taken advantage of.